In the world of sports, drama often walks hand in hand with the game, and when you add social media to the mix, every tiny gesture or expression can explode into a massive spectacle. This was exactly the case when Dave Portnoy, the polarizing figure of Barstool Sports, turned his fiery attention to a memorable moment involving two of women's college basketball's brightest stars, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Reese and Clark had already become household names among college basketball fans, but Portnoy's reaction that followed turned their encounter into a cultural moment that reached far beyond the court. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. The backdrop was the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship, where Louisiana State University's Angel Reese faced off against Iowa's Caitlin Clark. Clark had become somewhat of a phenomenon, not only for her undeniable skill on the court, but also for her no-nonsense, often intense demeanor. Known for her sharp-shooting abilities and fiery competitive spirit, Clark embodied the relentless determination that has earned her a spot in basketball history. On the other side of the court, Angel Reese was a force to be reckoned with, a dynamic player who brought both strength and confidence, making her a key figure in the LSU team. As the game reached its closing moments, with LSU in a comfortable lead, Reese made a gesture that would soon send the internet spiraling. She mimicked John Cena's iconic "You can't see me" hand wave, a taunt that Clark herself had used in previous games, directed right at Clark. Reese then pointed to her ring finger, signaling LSU's impending victory and her upcoming championship ring. The gesture was caught on camera, and within minutes, it was all anyone could talk about. To some, it was a display of passion, a player basking in the glory of a hard-fought win. To others, it was an act of poor sportsmanship, a taunt that crossed the line. Enter Dave Portnoy. Known for his unfiltered, often controversial takes, Portnoy didn't hold back in expressing his displeasure with Reese's gesture. With a platform as massive as his, it was no surprise that his words would reach millions. He labeled Reese's act as classless, sparking a wildfire of opinions from both sides of the debate. Portnoy's fans, who relished his blunt and unfiltered style, were quick to either rally behind his opinion or call him out for what they saw as a double standard. The internet lit up with debates, with some fans agreeing with Portnoy's take and others slamming him for missing the context, or even for making a big deal out of a simple gesture. What made this situation so interesting wasn't just the gesture itself, but the personalities involved. Portnoy is no stranger to controversy, and his outspoken nature often lands him in the center of online debates. He's built a brand around saying what he believes, regardless of whether it's politically correct or even entirely fair. His reactions are rarely subtle, and in this case, he didn't just dip his toe into the discussion. He cannonballed in, stirring the pot with every word. Portnoy's classless comment felt like more than just an opinion. It was a full-on declaration, challenging the sportsmanship of a young athlete who had just achieved a monumental victory. For Reese, this moment was a culmination of her journey, a celebration of reaching the pinnacle of college basketball. Her gesture was the kind of confidence and defiance often celebrated in sports, yet her actions sparked different reactions compared to when male players do similar things. The fact that Reese's gesture mirrored something Clark had done in earlier rounds added an extra layer to the narrative. To Reese, it seemed like a fair game. Clark had dished it out, so Reese was simply serving it back. To Portnoy, though, it was a line crossed. But why did Portnoy's reaction resonate with so many? Part of it has to do with Portnoy's reputation as a provocateur. He's the guy who will watch a game and call it like he sees it, often with a side of sarcasm and a pinch of humor that keeps people entertained, even if they don't always agree. Portnoy has long maintained his position as the voice of the everyman sports fan, the guy who will say what many might think but are too afraid to express. This is his lane, and he drives it at full speed. In taking on Reese's gesture, he was doubling down on his brand, unfiltered and unapologetic. For some, it was classic Portnoy. For others, it felt like he was attacking a young player for simply showing her pride. In the days leading up to the championship, Caitlin Clark had become a basketball darling. Her training videos, filled with hours of intense drills and dedication, went viral, showcasing her almost obsessive commitment to the game. She was often portrayed as a focused, hardworking player, someone who lived and breathed basketball. To many fans, Clark was the underdog they could root for, the athlete who let her game do the talking and who seemed almost unaware of the larger spectacle surrounding her. Reese, on the other hand, brought a different energy, an unapologetic swagger and confidence that dared anyone to doubt her team's capabilities. This wasn't just a clash of two talented athletes. It was a culture clash. Reese and Clark represented two different ways of approaching the game. Clark's quiet confidence and laser-focused drive contrasted with Reese's bold, assertive style. The championship game became more than just a test of skill. It was a meeting of personalities that sparked discussion about what it means to be classy or classless in sports. Fans on both sides took to social media, dissecting the moment, interpreting the gesture, and debating what it said about sportsmanship in women's basketball. What Portnoy may not have anticipated was the flood of responses that his reaction would trigger. Fans and commentators began questioning why gestures like Reese's are seen differently when done by women as opposed to men. In other sports, gestures of bravado, celebrations, and yes, even taunts are common, and they're often celebrated as part of the showmanship that makes sports exciting. But when Reese made her gesture, it was quickly labeled as inappropriate, which sparked debates about gender and double standards in sports. In a sense, Portnoy's comment became a flashpoint for a larger conversation. People began to wonder why expressions of confidence from women athletes are often scrutinized more closely than those of their male counterparts. Reese's gesture was arguably no different from the countless mic drop moments that male athletes have displayed on grand stages. Her actions highlighted a persistent divide in how we perceive passion and confidence in sports, especially in women's sports. Portnoy's words may have struck a chord with some, but they also revealed a lingering tension within the world of sports commentary and fandom. At the heart of this, Caitlin Clark remained remarkably composed, focusing on her training and not responding publicly to the drama unfolding around her. Her silence became its own statement. By refusing to engage, Clark let her reputation as a player who prioritizes the game over theatrics do the talking. Her focus on the next steps on her journey forward showed that for her, basketball is all about the court, the scoreboard, and the satisfaction of knowing she gave her all. It was a reminder that at the end of the day, the game itself matters more than any fleeting moment of drama. As Portnoy's words continued to fuel discussions, Reese and Clark's rivalry became a symbol for broader conversations in sports. Reese's gesture was a moment of triumph, a statement that her team had reached the top, and she wanted the world to know it. Clark's focused demeanor after the game highlighted the different ways athletes channel their passion. While Reese's move was bold and in your face, Clark's response, or lack of one, was stoic and calm. This contrast gave fans plenty to debate, and Portnoy's reaction only amplified those debates, pushing these two athletes into the spotlight for reasons that went beyond their skills. In the end, this clash of personalities, the fiery, vocal Portnoy, the confident, celebratory Reese, and the quiet, dedicated Clark, revealed the diverse ways people approach competition and victory. Reese's actions weren't without precedent, and Portnoy's reaction wasn't without its audience. Each figure played their part in creating a moment that people would remember, a moment that became about more than basketball. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.